Hello all, so we'll practice a bit of Python in this lecture, and I took this pattern to print. So let's start with this printing. So always, mind my words, always the very first step to write any program is to have its algorithm, or we can say the logic, that what is the algorithm in your mind, that how you are going to perform so that it does our task. So firstly you can see we have to print, like, these are 5 rows, and in each row, like if it's first row then 1 star, then second row second 2 stars, and so on, right? So there can be n number of rows, but I just took 5. And note that this is just one white space. Okay, I might not be consistent with the space, but it is one white space. So it's like when we enter space, it's just once that it's one white space, like this. Even you can't, like you can see here we want space, but sometimes you also don't need space, so in that it doesn't matter, like it's just a simple thing. So the algorithm will be like, for first row I have to print 1 star, then second row second star with this. So how we are going to proceed, let's see. So I'll write the entire code. So firstly, what I can say is that I need to have rows, or I can say number of rows should be, so let me have rows as one single variable, and I can say it is 5, right? After that, what I want, that I'll simply have the for loop, that for each row, so for I in range, what we have to do, we have to start from 0. So mind that for 5 rows we can start from 1 to 5, or we can start from 0 to 4, because in total we want 5, right? So 0 to 4 means 5 in total, 0 1 2 3 4. Yeah, so we can start like this, that from 0 up till rows that we have. So what it will do, for it will start like for I equals 0, then 1 2 3 and 4. Now what we want, that for first row, so right now consider this as a matrix, so we are on the first row. Now in that we just have one single star, so it's considered this as a matrix, so it's row and columns. So for first row we just need first 1 star, so first column and first row we need. So let me just go back there. I'll say that this is my first row, then this is my second row, and so on. So this will be my first column, then similarly this will be my second column, and this will be my third column, and so on. Yeah, so just it's not a matrix here, but I'm just considering that we need something like this. So now, since we want just 1 star in here, so again I'll use one more variable, let's say j, and I'll say for in range, and I'll say how much we want. And we know that for loop, in for loop, it won't take the highest, like the last. Okay, so it will be 0 to 5, so 5 won't be considered in the for loop. It will just, I will range from 0 to 4, and that is what we want, 0 1 2 3 4. In total we need 5, right? Now here what we want, here we want is from rows plus 1, because if I'll just write, sorry, not rows here, sorry, up till I. So now for the first iteration our I value is 0. So if my I value is 0, then it will be just for range 0 to 0, which is not there, so it won't go in this, right? At least we need 0 to 1 or something. Even in range 0 to 1 it will be just for 0. Yeah, so we need I plus 1 here, so that for first iteration our I is 0. So our this loop will be for j in range 0 to 1, because I is 0 for first iteration. So it will be for j 0. So j will also start for just one single time, because as I said, it won't consider upper limit in for loop. Now what we want is just we have to print a star. So what I'll write is just print 1 star, and we are good to go. But always in Python, remember that I'll just write it here as in the form of comment, sorry, that print statement, this is very important, always ends the line. So it means that it will print the star, and next time when we'll come for I equals to 2, then what will happen, so I equals to 1, because we started with 0, then what will happen, this will be printed for, then our this will be for I equals to 1, this will be 1 plus 1 2. So our for loop will be for 0 and 1, right, because 2 is not considered. So for 0th iteration it will print star, then it will print one more star in the next line, because print statement always ends the line. So it will, next time it will start from the next line. So instead what we want is, because we need something like this, that for first row it's okay, but for second row we need both in the same line, correct? Not like we need uh, this second star is here, right? Here we need, but for the third row, but for the second row we should have two, right? Two stars. So for that reason, here we have to specify that, you can check here that end is slash n. Yeah, just every time if you will print shift and tab, you will find the documentation of any function in Python, and this is bibliotecture of Jupyter here. So we have to specify that we don't want to end with the new line, correct? So what I'll say is that I'll end with a space. Yeah, so just end with a space, correct? And so now what is happening up until now, let me just repeat it, that where are we up until now. So it will start from here for I rows equals to 5. So for I equals to 0, so then we are in the 0th iteration for I. For the j, what we will do is, we will be having for first iteration when I is 0, right? So let me just side by side type it in here only, it will be better, I think. Okay, let me just write it here. So what is happening right now is that, I hope the color is visible. Okay, let me change it. Red will be visible, I think. Yeah, so this is first star, then we need second. So what this, how this will start is, right now we are at I equals to 0, then our j will be in range from 0 to 1, because I is 0. So as I said, for loop doesn't consider upper limit, so it will be just 0. So as I said, for first row we just need, in column as well we just need one column, we don't need second column, we don't want to print here, right? We have to end the line. So after printing we have to end the line, right? So that's why there is one more thing left, that up until now this will print, but we have to end the line as well. After this two, this will print 2 in one line, like this. Then if we'll go next, but we have to go next, right? Because after printing 2 in second row, we need to go into the next line. So that thing is left to be written here, and that I'll write now. That, but when we have to do this, after printing the number of stars that are required, so outside this for loop I need that. So here I will print, and as I said, print statement will just anyhow will be having a new line as a slash, like as a default, so it will automatically print it. So let me just erase this first, and let me try to explain again that what I'm trying to say. So what will happen is, now that after printing it, that is one number of on first row, then it will end the line. Yeah, because for 0th iteration this for loop will be having just one iteration. Yeah, then for second iteration when I is 1, this for loop will iterate for twice, right, for 0 and 1. Then for third iteration it will be 0 1 2. So it will print 3 stars in a single line, that because that's why we had added this end thing. And of course this is the space, that is, as I said, we have one space in between. Yeah, that's why I added this space. But after printing we need to have new line, and that's why I'm just saying print here, or you can use anything like that gives the new line, and print by default gives the new line, and that's why I'm doing this. So now if I'll run this, what will happen, let's see. Yeah, so we got what we want, isn't it? So the same thing, if I modify the number of rows, I'll get more number of rows, and you can see there is one white space in between. So if I'll summarize what this, let me just erase and summarize that what this is doing. For first iteration, that is for I equals 0, what is happening, we are going inside for 0 just one time this loop will run, and then we are having star here, and we are ending it with the space. So it will end with the space. Then for I equals to 1, this for loop will run twice, because it for j is range from, since I is 1, it will be 0 for 0th iteration, and 1 for, I mean, j equals 0 and j equals 1, not 0th iteration, but yeah, 0th iteration, but for inner for loop. Then this for loop will complete, and then we are in the new line. Then again I'll go to from I equals to 1, then 2, then 3 and 4 up till rows. And as I said, rows won't be considered, so it will be always going until rows minus 1. Yeah, so if I have 6 rows, then it will go until 5. So I will range from 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? So I hope things are getting clear that how we are going to print. In next lectures we will be seeing some different patterns as well, so I'll show you here that what are we going to see in next lectures. So we just had this right now. I just wrote the same code, but with a definition function that n is number of rows we want. Now we'll also see that just inverted rotated triangle. Yeah, just we need the space first. So we'll see how we are doing. Then we'll also see the increasing decreasing triangle, then rotated one, then the exact perfect triangle, and so on. So this is just like you have to develop the logic. So if once you develop the logic that this is how I want to proceed, you can write any pattern, or you can print any pattern, right, in any programming language. It just need a logic, and that's it. So we'll see each other in the next video. Up until then, thank you, and I hope you learned something about the logic building in Python.